program of the Cambodian Buddhist Monk Society in USA. Today, we are still on our topic, which is the series of the Maha Mangala Sutta, the discourse of the highest blessings in Buddha's teaching. So before I begin, I would like to pay homage to the Triple Gym, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha with my high respect. And also, I would like to pay my respect to our senior monks in the United States and all venerable monks around the world who happen to watch this program. And at the same time, I would like to pay my respect to both venerable monks here, Venerable Dhammapala and Venerable Hun Kamra, who kindly joined us again on this program to share our perspective, our understanding on the teaching of the Buddha on the Maha Mangala Sutta, which is the discourse of the highest blessings. So thank you for joining us. And before I begin with both of you, I would like to take this opportunity to apologize to the last week schedule, which we couldn't do it due to the technical issues. We couldn't fix it, and we were stuck, and we couldn't broadcast the program. So we would like to apologize. Now we are fixed, and we're ready to go on this program again. And once again, venerable monks here, welcome to the program, the Buddhasāsanā program. So I would like to start with Venerable Dhammapala of the Des Moines, Iowa. So as I have mentioned from the beginning, that we are still on the series of the Maha Mangala Suttas, so which is the blessings. So before I'm going into each blessings that you have been appointed to describe, I would like you to tell us what is blessing based on your understanding from the teaching of the Buddha. So thank you.
Thank you, and homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. This is fun. Words are, I say this all the time, words are goopy. They can slither and slide, and they can have one meaning here and another meaning there. And what something means in one context, it will mean in another context. What it means to me, it'll mean something different to someone else. Words are slippery, they're goopy. Blessing is one of those words. In English, it has a few meanings, but in the United States, in North America, in Europe, for the most part, blessing is it can be a noun or a verb, and as a noun, it is something one receives from a higher authority, generally considered to be the Judeo-Christian God. As a verb, it is the act of bestowing the blessing. And what a blessing is, it is grace, it is favoritism, it is something that puts you in a good relationship, in good stead with the Judeo-Christian God. That would be what I think, that would be the general understanding here in North and South America and Europe of what the word blessing means.
Thank you. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Well, from a Buddhist perspective, the word is Mangala or Mangalam. And what that means is not the Judeo-Christian concept of a blessing, but it is something that the person does, that you do. It is an action on your part, a practice, if you will, that will bring you good fortune, that will make your life more auspicious, that will bring you good luck, that will, and from a Buddhist perspective, the problem in the human condition is it's twofold. It's ignorance and self-absorption, greed, avijja, and tanha. Uh, uh, Mangala is the practice of Mangala is a way to further you out of the state of dukkha, which is a state of being you find yourself in when how you want reality to be doesn't fit, doesn't match with reality, and you're so attached, so committed to things being the way you want them to be that you get upset because they're not.
Okay.
So Mangala is a way to move out of and away from, stay away from dukkha.
Thank you so much. So that is the Buddha's version. Uh, so one venerable Hun Camera. So what is your take on blessings, and how would you describe it to the people in general? Thank you.
Thank you, my Venerable Sir. And may my homage to the Buddha, to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha, and especially to our Venerable Sir, Dhammapala, and Venerable Kasuga, the moderator, and the devotees around the globe, my friends in Dhamma. So, blessing, and as Venerable Dhammapala explained and defined according to different contexts, but from my understanding, a blessing is a great thing for our life to be accumulated by us. And Buddhism hold very unique and distinctive ideology when it comes to gaining the life highest blessing. And the blessing in Buddhism must be created, must be gained, must be secured by developing our spirituality through, action. It can be verbal, it can be physical, it can be mental actions. So, I mean, life highest blessing has been a huge question, not only amongst the humans, or also among the divine beings. That, this day, I mean, today's society is the same. Even at the Buddha's time, that people define their blessing or auspices in life depending on the way they see, the way they hear, the way they smell. But Buddha rejected that. So the blessing in Buddhism is about collecting wholesomeness. It's about spiritual development. It's about goodness. In the Pali term, we call it kusala bhavana. So it's about cultivation, the goodness. So, and yeah, when it comes to wholesomeness or goodness, it can be defined from different contexts. But simply, it's about, I mean, Buddhism hold very pragmatic view towards blessing, that it is a practice. It can be practiced by everyone. Like it's about like what goes around. What goes around comes around. It's about good and bad. It's about cause and effect. If you are collecting more good causes, you will experience the good result. If you are collecting more bad causes, you will experience repercussion. So blessing in Buddhism is about good action. It's about wholesome action. So and like what let me add this: in order to enjoy the life highest blessing, you are the one who is responsible for that. This is my understanding. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your explanation. So now let's go to our stanza that both of you have been assigned to describe. But Venerable Dhammapala, as Venerable Hun Kamla has mentioned, that blessings has to be accumulated by oneself. So but sometimes we mostly misunderstanding on blessings by praying by worshiping, by asking basically something, someone, or anything that we believe that uh, could empower us, or any blessings. So here the Buddha has mentioned on the stanza, but I'm not going to say in the Pali terms because I'm not good at it. So I'm going to use all in English here, the translation. And so one blessing that the Buddha has mentioned here is that having subdued evil acts is the blessing. So what do you make of that? What is your take on that, Venerable Dhammapala? So thank you.
I've got to come back to the term dukkha. And the idea of cause and effect has been presented, and I agree with that. We would say kama or karma in the Sanskrit. Subduing evil acts. The Pali word tapo, which is this particular phrase begins with tapo, it literally means heat, as in temperature. I'm getting some static. Do you all hear me okay?
Yes. Go on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
very good.
So it literally means heat. At the time of the Buddha, the dominant tradition, the dominant belief system was what we call Brahmanism today, a forerunner of what we call Hinduism today. And in Brahmanism, the word tapo was used to identify the ascetic practices, the extreme asceticisms. And it was a way of the belief was that practicing extreme asceticism was a way of destroying those bad consequences of karma and a way of preventing developing new karma. And so they set out a list of the kinds of practices. The Buddha came along and he said, that kind of extreme stuff, that's not necessary. What you need to do is you need to avoid those thoughts, words, and deeds that will produce dukkha, that will cause you to be upset, but that also will have an effect on your social and probably, I add the physical environment, on what's around you, that it will set the stage for dukkha in the environment. And that's how we would define evil. So to avoid evil acts is to avoid those things which cause dukkha. How do we do that? Well, the Eightfold Path, we practice right knowledge, right intention, right speech, right action, right lifestyle. We have to make the effort. We have to be mindful. We need to be aware of how our thoughts, words, and deeds affect ourselves and also affect the social and physical environments that we're in. And then, of course, there's samadhi, which doesn't translate well, but it's sometimes called meditation, absorption. But evil actions are those which produce dukkha for ourselves or set the stage for dukkha for other people, such as making firearms. Building guns is not something that is conducive to sukha, the opposite of dukkha, or to advancement on the spiritual path. So, evil is dukkha, and practicing the Noble Eightfold Path will help us get out of it. This, by the way, let me just say this quickly. The 36 or 38 guidelines that are set out here in the Mangala Sutta are just that. It's almost an expansion of a moral code. It says you do this, and you're going to make your life, and the life of those around you is going to be better.
Yeah, thank you so much. So resistant to the evil. I mean, like we have to suppress do anything that can subdue the evil act. So simply we gain blessings for what you.
Yeah,
So
be mindful of your urges. Yes.
Yeah. So yes. So now I would like to turn to the question to Venerable on camera. Venerable Dhammapala has mentioned about the Eightfold Path that on to put into practice that could gain us any blessings. So then the Buddha has mentioned in your stanza about the mind of a worthy one. So what would be the mind of the worthy one? Do you think, and what and how can we understand it? So could you please share with us your perspective? Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Sir, for the question. Before explaining what the fact in the verse Buddhasāsana Dhammehi, let me say this. Blessing, in order to gain life highest blessing in Buddhism, you have to walk on the consecutive and gradual path. I mean, from Asevanaca Balanang to the Buddhasāsana Dhammehi, it's kinds of gradual process, it's kinds of gradual advancement. You cannot reach the state of Buddhasāsana Dhammehi at once. You cannot jump over to it. So it's kinds of, as I told you, it's kinds of accumulation, it's kinds of development. You have to start from the beginning. You have to know who is bad, who is good. You have to associate with the wise people. You have to do the dana. You have to, treat your parents. You have, different stuff to be done to reach the state of Buddhasāsana Dhammehi. So the English translation is Buddhasāsana Dhammehi Cittang Yasana Kampati Asokang Dirjang Kemang Etang Manglamutamang. So here it is mentioned about the mental perfection of an arahant. Okay, like Buddhasāsana, if someone's mind is not shaken, is not perturbed by the worldly condition. Okay, this is the quality. So, and to remain unshaken, to remain untroubled, to remain unperturbed by the external eight worldly conditions, we must train, as Venerable Dhammapala said, according to the Eightfold Path. And to reach that state, we need a very consecutive training. But and it is very broad, but according to Milinda Panha, it is elaborated very precisely about Eightfold Path. Like Venerable Nagasena was asked by the king, Milinda, in order to attain enlightenment, how monk or anyone who is interested in enlightenment, how monk accumulate the qualities. So there are many qualities. So one of them is to put yourself into the practice of Satipatthana Sutta, the four foundation of mindfulness. So four foundation of mindfulness is Eightfold Path. Eightfold Path is four foundation of mindfulness. So what I want to say, the mind of Arahant cannot be shaken, cannot be moved by the eight worldly conditions, or that labha, like loss, gain, and so on, and suffering and happiness. And you mentioned about the wise. So that this is the worthy. This is the mind of the worthy one. This is the mind of an arahant. So in Dhammapada it is mentioned that Selo Yatha Ekagano. So in the verse it gives an analogy to the mind of the worthy one. His mind is like a rock of mountain, which cannot be shaken by the wind. So from Buddhist perspective, this state of mind is the attribute of arahants. For us, we can develop, but to some extent, to just cultivate the equanimity, remain unshaken, remain unaffected, by external circumstances in life. We can do that by using the wise reflection. but to experience totally like the fact mentioned in the verse, you must become an arahant. So that's all from me.
Okay, thank you so much. So I would like to put it as the highest of the highest blessing, because this one is going to be extremely difficult to attain. But once we achieve this stage, and then we are going to eliminate the endless suffering that we all human being or all sentient beings are experiencing in our life. And so yeah, so now another blessings to yes.
May I ask a question of Venerable Kassapa?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
It seems to me, and this is just my perspective, but it seems to me that the Mangala Sutta is really set forth for the layperson rather than for the monk. Would you agree with that, or would you say that it's more for the monk?
Let me say this. I mean, it's for both, but it's kinds of preparation. So the first three verses are kinds of a preparation for the spiritual development. So Asevana and so it can be practiced by the monk, it can be practiced by devotees. So when it comes to Mata Pitu Pattanam, so monks are allowed to treat their parents. And like Nyati Sangha, it's not about materialism that you have to provide money, housing, or through your relatives. It's about providing, the Dhamma. You can do that to them, and you can guide them, and so stuff. So I mean, if you got time to read the Milinda Panyu, it's very understandable that the Eightfold Path is very broad. It's not just about the Eightfold Path. It's about I call it overall training to reach enlightenment, because Buddha said that we must learn even from the crow. When the crow gets he sees the food, he will shout and to call everyone to come together and to share. So sharing is one part of spiritual development, that is we call dana, and you know that the saraniya dhamma, that the monk have to practice wherever he got into his bowl, he have to share. So it's about development. So for me, both can be practiced, but the first few verses are the preparation for the enlightenment.
Yeah, I think so. It's a range of blessings that this is, I think this sutta is for everyone to for those who are pursuing. If you are looking for blessings, so this is the 38 blessings of the Buddha is the object that we need to pursue and put in practice. Then we will be fortunately having blessings in life. So that regardless of being a monk or a normal person, as long as we are pursuing on each of these blessings, then we will have a blessing. But it's just that what the Venerable Hun Kamra has mentioned is it's just a higher stage that people need some time and need not some time, but a long process to achieve, to achieve this. And some, as in the Buddha mentioned, as it takes many lifetime, in order to achieve that arahanthood or the Buddhahood. So I would like to go into the topic again that the Buddha has mentioned, Venerable Dhammapala, to leading a noble life. So what simply mean? What is simply mean a leading a noble life? That we have that we can gain a blessing. So could you please explain? Thank you.
Thank you. That's I like that question. I think it needs to be considered. In the West, and I'm a Westerner, so I'm much more familiar with Western cultures and Western history. In the West, nobility was a level in society. There were the nobles, the kings and queens and princes and dukes, and within the Western religious tradition, the church You had your nobles, you had your bishops and your archbishops and the pope, and so there was this idea that the noble people were, by virtue of their birth, not because they'd earned it, but just because they were alive, they had some superior status. And I think from my understanding of, again, ancient history in India, there was a very rigid caste system, and you had the Brahmins at the top and the Kshatriyas and so forth on down to the outcasts. And again, it was a matter of birth. It wasn't something you earned. It wasn't something that you acquired, but it was a matter of birth. And to kind of connect this a little bit with the Eightfold Path, the caste you were born into determined the kind of work you did, the kind of lifestyle you had. And so when we get to right livelihood and right lifestyle, that ties in. Because I think from a Buddhist perspective, nobility is something you become. It is a way of thinking, a way of speaking, and a way of acting. We talk about noble ideas or noble ideals. Very, very, very pure, very honest, very high thoughts, words, and actions that only promote the good and that are selfless as much as possible. So the noble life is being on the path to the noble life is to practice. I might say the Brahma Vihara, the Brahma Vihir, the Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha, that benevolence and compassion and altruistic joy, and the internal equanimity and silence that Venerable Kassapa mentioned.
Yes, thank you. But I would like to go deeper, a little bit deeper on this this topic.
Okay.
You know, it's very complex. You know, when we're talking about leading a noble life, you know, people are perceiving that, you know, getting higher status. I mean, or higher in higher position, accumulating more wealth. So that put them can help them to lead a.
I think we lost him.
Yep. Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Kassapa, if you would, please.
Yeah, I will add something like, yeah, the first thing we have to understand is we have to define the word nobility, I mean, from Buddhist perspective, because, I mean, being noble, I mean, from the eyes of, you know, not only the West, we are talking about general, like, because ignorance has no ethnicity, has no nationality. So being noble, they think that you are reaching the high status like the king, you know, the prime minister, or it can be the president. So I mean, and you have 1,000 billion of, you know, servants around you, and so this is how they define nobility from the West, also from the East. So, but Buddhism define nobility from different contexts. It means that physicality, or your caste, or wealthiness, or your status. It can be you are the king, you are the prime minister, you are the, you know, you are the president. But those things are not the real determinant of being noble.
Yes.
It depends on your it depends on your action. That is why in Vasana Sutta, Buddha said, you know, to become a great one, your caste is nothing. It's about your deed, your action. This is called karma. The way you talk, the way you do, the way you think, manifest the nobility of yourself. So this is the basic philosophy of Buddhism, of being noble, how to lead noble life is, as Venerable Dhammapada said, a substance of unwholesomeness.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So thank you. I was cut off by the connection, so I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, yeah.
Venerable
Yes.
Dhammapada? Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm curious about it because we are living in the world that people are pursuing after so many things, many being on a certain status in life, or being on a position, and collecting on, and pursuing after wealth and so many things else, and then we waste too much time on this, and we thought that, oh, after having all of those things, that is how life is blessing. so so that's why I want to clarify, and then what would be on the Buddhist perspective on a noble, leading a noble life. So so anything else you would like to add on this?
Maybe I don't really know who all the audience is. I'm looking at the list over here, and it looks like most are Cambodians. But I wonder if this would be a simple way of stating the difference. One idea of nobility is your social position. The Buddhist idea of nobility is who you are, what you are, and how you are, regardless of your social position. It's your way of being in the world, and being in the world, but not being of the world.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Not being worldly.
Yeah. So let's continue to the next blessings that the Buddha has mentioned in this sutta. So, Venerable on camera, your next, you have mentioned a little bit about the confronted with the eight bodily condition is not shaken. So, what did the Buddha mean on this? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So go on, please.
Yeah. But let me read the definition again in the simple words, like whosoever mind is not shaken by the eight worldly condition, and another one is like sorrowless,
Yes.
and then Virajang remain unstained by the passion, and the final one is Kema. I prefer the definition of fearlessness,
Okay.
Kema. Yeah, but the translation is secure from the sensuality. Anyway, like the same meaning.
Yes.
So as I mentioned earlier, these are the attribute of an arahant, and to be honest, we can only literally define from from Buddhist context, even because we cannot experience that. But when we talk from our own perspective in terms of meditation experience, we can little bit understand that that state of mind is about equanimity. It's because you remain equanimous to whatever happen in the world, not only in the world, even in your mind, even because even our mind, even our physicality is impermanent. So the mind of an arahant is not moved by any kinds of disturbances or calamities, happening in the world or happening in his mind. So this is what Buddha did try to explain the great perfection of the mentality of an arahant. So because he has no desire, he has no any kinds of visual attachment. So when you are free of sensuality, when you are free from attachment, when you are free from any kinds of passion, you cannot be shaken. You cannot be perturbed by the eight worldly conditions. But let me say this: I mean, even you are an arahant, you still have to face the 8 worldly conditions. This is the reality. But the 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 point here is the arahant is not react. It's not reacting to whatever come to him. But as ordinary beings, we react. We react.
Yeah.
So this is the difference between the arahant
Okay.
and between us. So that's all from me.
Okay, thank you so much. Once again, I think this blessing, when we go toward the end of the sutta, I think it is very complex and very difficult to understand. Because like for those who do not have a foundation, wouldn't and then we have a very short time to explain this, and I think it really difficult to catch up with the meaning on these blessings. But thank you for trying, and it's going to take time for those who are willing to go deeper on this blessing, and particularly on this sutta. So now I would like to turn my question to Venerable Dhammapalas again on the Buddha has mentioned here the seeing the noble truths and realization of Nibbana. This is the highest blessing. So seeing the noble truths and the realization of the Nibbana. So I think once again this is a very complex topic, and it's going to be very difficult to understand for some people. But I still would like you to try to explain. So how would you describe? What is your take on this?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Uh, yes. It is something that one needs to spend a good deal of time with, uh, both before and after meditation. One needs to do some formal study, but one also needs to absorb the experience of practicing the Eightfold Path. So, what does it mean to see the Four Noble Truths? Um, there's a phrase in Buddhism, ehi passiko, come see. And I think that's very good for people to understand. Come means that the person has to act and see. It doesn't just mean that we use our eyes and we register. Oh, there's a tree. Oh, there's a chair. There are words on a page. Um, uh, I I have a PhD in psychology, so I sometimes come off sounding like a psychologist. But this
That's
but
okay.
this
Yeah.
to see is to have that aha moment, that, oh, I get it. It is insight. It's not just sight, it is insight. It is that grasping of what it means. And I'm going to take it a little step further than this, because there's a state within meditation, 4 states within meditation or more, called jhana. And ultimately, meditation can lead to a state where we are awake, we are aware, but we are not processing things using concepts like good and bad, concepts like this is right and this is wrong. But we're experiencing reality directly. And I think that when they say to see the Four Noble Truths, that means to experience directly, without concepts, without preconception. Uh, what does it mean to say dukkha is? If you're alive, you are going to be in dukkha, in a state of dukkha. You're going to experience dukkha. Um, and to be able to recognize that when it happens, without having to rationalize it or philosophize about it or verbalize it, just, aha, I get it. I know what dukkha is. And yes, as long as I'm alive, there's going to be dukkha. I can lessen it. I see the cause of dukkha is my ignorance and my grasping uh, for self gratification. Uh, and when I can see that, I can see, oh, yeah, I'm upset because I'm afraid of losing this person's love, or I'm upset because I'm afraid I'm losing this, or I'm angry because I want something to be a particular way and it's not. So we have that experience, that direct experience of reality. That's what it means to see the Four Noble Truths, to have that insight, to understand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
about the Nibbana,
hmm
it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Realizing Nibbana is having that insight, that experience, perhaps just a little niggling edge toward it, but getting there.
Yes, yes, yes. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for getting deeper into this. It's going to take time for every practitioners to practice along the way and get a sense of wisdom to understand the practice. So thank you. So now we are going to the end of this session. So I would like both of you to have 1 or 2 minutes to share your message of encouragement for people who are pursuing blessings in life. So what would be your message of encouragement toward blessings to the public? So each of you, I would like to Venerable hold camera first, and then Venerable Namagala after. So what would be your message of encouragement to the people who are pursuing blessings in their life? So thank you.
So thank you, my brothers, for the invitation. But let me tell our devotees and who are watching us. Real blessing in Buddhism is about being happy. It's about being who you are. It's about transformation to be the best version of yourself, rather than changing or expecting others to bless you. So the real blessing must be created by yourself. You are responsible for that. You are accountable for that. So, and blessing in Buddhism is not about having more money. It's not about having more houses. It's not about having more companies. It's about having the mental relaxation, mental vacation, how you can remain happy the whole day, how you remain equanimous, how you are not shaken or moved by the ups and downs in life. So this is the real blessing. And in order to maintain such mentality, you have to practice according to the Maha Mangala Sutta. You have to be with good people because they guide you. You have to be a good son, a good daughter, a good leader, a good director, and so on. Then you mentally train yourself to be patient and to share, to give whatever you have, and even you haven't yet walked on the path leading you to enlightenment, at least you are aware. Okay, this is suffering. No, I have to stay away from it. I have to collect something making me happy. So in order to make you happy from Buddhist perspective, you have to lead your life as much as possible according to the Maha Mangala Sutta. And the happiness is not only for this life, but the life after. So it is a connected blessing according to the Maha Mangala Sutta. So that's all from me, and thank you very much for your kind invitation, and
Thank you.
thank you, Venerable Dhammapala, and it's a great pleasure to
Yeah.
be transmitted with you. So thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much. Okay, so what is your take, Venerable Dhammapala? So please.
Practice. I think the key word here is practice. You know, if I want to be a concert pianist, it's not that I learned this piece, so now I'm a concert pianist. I have to practice, because if I don't practice, if I don't keep honing my skills, they get dull. So my message is to start. My message is practice. And the second part of my message is we try and we fail. And we try and we fail. And we try. Oh, we succeed a little bit. And we try and we fail. And we need to make a commitment, a mental commitment. I'm going to do this in spite of all the times I feel. I sit down to meditate, and I sit, and my thoughts are all over the place, and I can't keep my eyes closed, and blah 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 blah, and I failed. Well, then I sit back down and I try again. We keep trying. We it's not something that I can do once and reap the rewards. A little bit, but I have to keep at it. And so that's where a good community, a good teacher, um, friends can encourage you and can help you when you say, "Oh, this is tough. I can't do it." Yeah, you can.
Thank you so much. Thank you to both venerable monks for joining us today. I'm having a wonderful talk with you guys, and to all the people and to all the venerable monks, thank you for watching, and also to some of the people who posted question here. We couldn't answer or respond to the question, and we will do it later on. And at the end of this series, we will have a session that for question and answers, and we will do it. And for those who are willing to ask a question, please come and join us again. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we are going to invite you again in another particular topics that we are going to choose. And we hope you could join us. And thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to have both of you on this program. And once again, and I would like to apologize if any mistakes that we committed intentionally or unintentionally. We are all still learning, and I am not a native speaker, so we tend to have some mistakes. So we are sorry, and we hope you understand. And lastly, I would like both of you venerable and all the people who are watching here have a healthy and safe life during this pandemic. So thank you so much, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.